Bang! Needs knives. I'm Jared. My lovely wife Kara is not with us today, but she hasn't spent much time with this knife, so she doesn't care. She said do it, and I wanted to push this knife forward because there's only one other review on it, and this one really excited me. TwoSun usually does. They do incredible knives for a really good deal, and so I'm really excited about doing this video, so I figured let's just do it. And I want to compare this knife, which I know this is a huge statement. I got this for about 65 bucks. I want to compare this knife to a 300 plus dollar knife, the Reate K3. If you don't know what Reate is, Reate makes high-end knives, at least high-end in most people's books. Maybe not in everybody's, but Reate makes $300 plus, $300 plus knives. They're usually over $300, and in most people's books, that's a high-end knife. Most people in the world don't buy $300 plus dollar knives. So to me, this is a high-end knife. Excuse me. So let's talk about it really quick. What makes a high-end knife? Good blade steels, maybe super steels. This is 204P. High-end materials in general. Titanium, carbon fiber, milled out titanium maybe. Excuse me. It's milled out, and you usually want it, not always, but you usually want it milled out. Can you see that? Doesn't matter. It's milled out. You usually want it milled out because it makes it a lot lighter. And what I mean by milled out is, can I see that? Should I just grab a flashlight? There's little pockets in here that are done. Let's see if we can do it like that. There's little pockets in here that are cut out, kind of like this pocket where the carbon fiber is. There's little pockets cut out so it takes weight off. And if that wasn't done, this would be a lot heavier of a knife. A lot heavier. So stuff like that. Fit and finish. That's another thing. Maybe a good detent. And all these things, the knives doesn't have to, if you have a high-end knife and some of these things aren't on your high-end knife, it doesn't mean anything's wrong with your high-end knife. Some things people want, some things people don't, some things people care about, and some things people, won't. Doesn't, we're just talking, so bear with me. But, maybe a good detent. I know I like to see a good detent. I like to see good action. Fit and finish. Maybe good chamfering, good ergos. Maybe like you want the corners knocked down. You want it to be nice and comfortable in the hand. Maybe good access to your lock bar. You want to be able to get to that lock bar real easily. Jimping, good jimping. That's a plus. You want to see that. When you spend a bunch of money, you want to see all these little details covered. Maybe this is depending on the knife, but maybe ceramic ceramic pivot, ceramic balls going around there. Ceramic bearings, ceramic bearings. Maybe not though, like I said, depends on the knife. Ceramic detent, if it's got a steel lock bar insert, that's another thing. Maybe you just want a regular titanium frame lock, but one good thing you usually almost always want is good hardware, for sure. Maybe large hardware. Not hardware like this. Which is nothing really wrong with this hardware. It's just oh, there was one missing. Look at that. T6s, they're usually a little bit smaller. A lot of people, when they spend the money, they want the bigger ones because they don't strip out your bit as easy, and they don't strip out as easy. What's another thing? Definitely want good lockup. That's one good thing. You definitely want good lockup, smooth action maybe. But you want all these things, good grinds, you know, you kind of expect that. But all these things that we're talking about on this $300+ knife, I'm gonna go over, because this is also a review of the TwoSun TS162, and we're gonna talk about this knife, and then we're gonna talk about some other TwoSuns at the end, and maybe compare them a little bit. But this is done beautifully. Look at those grinds. Oh, that blade looks so beautiful. Alright, this knife is overall, you see the size comparison versus the K3. If you know the size of that, then you know the size of this. But this is about 8 3/4 overall length with a 4-inch blade, 12C27, milled titanium, and carbon fiber. The carbon fiber is done very beautifully. Carbon fiber. It's done amazing. I will show a picture right now of this thing taken apart. And if you looked at that, you will notice that the titanium is milled and the ball bearings are ceramic, caged bearings. They're caged ceramic bearings on a little washer that's a racetrack, which is really cool because it makes for this amazing action. Has a ceramic detent ball. It has, if you looked at that milling, you'll notice it's super duper deep. Like, it's really, really deep. It's so deep, the pockets, that they couldn't go any deeper. If you really look right here, you'll notice there's lines, milling lines. They're kind of hard to see, but they're there. They're really subtle. This thing has very good jimping. Where this thing shines, I think, is in the blade. Also, this does come in S90V. So if 12C27 isn't, you know, isn't what you want, it does come in a better steel. And that one I think goes for around 100, 110 bucks. But the blade is super thin. Very thin blade. It's about the thickness of the Reate 1, but it gets way thinner behind the edge. Way thinner. My calipers measured this at like 12 thousandths behind the edge, 10, 12 thousandths. So it's super thin. It might be a little thicker than that. My calipers are a little wonky, but it's super thin. All right, hardware. We'll get back to the blade in just 1 second. Hardware. This has some of the best hardware. Now, in my opinion, the company that makes the best hardware is WE. I love WE's hardware. I compare this hardware to WE's hardware. Reate makes really good hardware too. So I'm going to put them all in the same category. I've never had a problem taking apart a TwoSun. The hardware is just great. It's all T8s all the way around. Even the pocket clip has T8s. The only T6 is on the lock bar insert. But you can take this knife apart so fast, clean it and put it back together literally in 2 minutes. And when you do put it back together, bang, right back to centering. No blade play, no lock rock. It's beautiful. The hardware is just great. Another thing that might come in a high-end knife is the little fine details. You know, the things that that might not come on a high-end knife, but you really want it. So those little extras like reverse detents, and that is a little cutout so that when you are disengaging the blade, right here, the detent ball hits, and you can just push right past it. This one has it. Now, if it didn't have it, it would look something like this. If this doesn't have a reverse detent, this is a great knife too. But see, it's really hard. You got to push past it, and you got to put pressure. So, like, sometimes it'll slap shut like that. Sometimes it'll slap all the way shut. Let's see. Oh, I got a lock. Let's see how the pressure I gotta put, and then if I, right there, bang. When I put pressure right there, it'll, I'm trying to get the slap shut. Normally it does. What am I doing wrong? Alright, when you don't have a reverse detent, this is a good knife. It doesn't really need a reverse detent, but if you don't have one, this is what it looks like. See, I gotta like overcome, I gotta put a lot of pressure and it'll slap shut like that. Because I'm putting pressure and the detent pawl has to get onto the blade. So since it's hard for it to get on the blade, you gotta put a lot of pressure. Now, this one has it. So right here, it's on the detent ball. Easily just push right past it. Like nothing. Even though when you unlock, you're already past it, which is another good thing. You want to be past that detent ball. So you don't have to fumble with it, because sometimes what'll happen is it'll fumble back and forth right there. And you don't want that. You want to either just push right past it or for it to already be past it. The action on this thing, you can reverse flick, you can thumb flick, and use the flipper tab. Flipper tab, you can light button, or light button. You can push button or light switch. Very good action. It was a tiny bit lighter when I first got it, but I flicked it a few times and the detent just got better and better, just settled in, and I love it. It's great. The jimping is great on this thing. I've noticed that TwoSuns, the newer they are, like the higher the number, basically the newer they are. It seems like the lower the number, the older the model, the higher the number, the newer the model. And it seems like the more and more newer they are, the more refined they are. And they're just doing all those little fine details even better. And they did them in the past very well too. So if you got an older model, they're great. But so like that says a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like they were great then, and now they're just even getting better. Like they're making thinner blades, thinner behind the edge. Just so many things. The jimping is getting better. Just so many things. And see, like with this, even when I'm locked in right here and I'm cutting, look at this. Nothing's in my cutting path. This blade is made to do its job, which is cutting. I mean, this knife specifically is made for cutting. You know, some knives are made to be more hard use and made for prying and stuff like that. This knife is absolutely not made for prying. This is a cutting beast. So if you're wanting a large knife that is just a slicing beast, this is definitely one of those. It's so sharp and so thin behind the edge, and it doesn't thicken up fast either. If you really look, see how thin that is right there? It's so thin, and it doesn't get thick quick, so you can get a lot of great sharpening on there. The sharpening choil is done great. That's another thing people really like to see. Good sharpening choil. Can you choke up? No, not really. You can put your finger up there if you want to, but it's so thin. Now you can reach up like that if you really want to, get a little more finer work done, but it's so comfortable in the hand too. It's about the thickness as a Griptilian, a Benchmade Griptilian, but it's way more comfortable. I mean, this thing just melts in your hand. The lock bar, chamfered all the way around. Everything's chamfered and rounded. So nice. You can easily get to the lock bar, and it's chamfered too. So it's super comfortable to get to the lock bar. You can squeeze your finger right in there without a problem. It feels so good to handle this knife. It just feels so premium. Now, like I said, this is a $65 knife, and look at all these details that it has that high-end knives have, and even some don't. And I just feel like you're paying for so many, and I'm not saying that this knife isn't worth $300 or over $300. It absolutely is. It's a great knife. I'm saying that this knife is done so well, and TwoSun is doing such a great job. Now, the one complaint I do have on this knife is the pocket clip. TwoSun has made way better pocket clips, and this is not one of them. They need a better ramp. In jeans, it's fine. I carried it in jeans, it wasn't a problem. But anything thicker than that, you see there's not much room under there. I will say it's comfortable in the hand. That's one thing. But besides that, the clip sucks. I mean, I mean, it's pretty deep in the pocket and does have a lanyard hole, as you can see. It's pretty deep in the pocket, but it's not the best clip. The backspacer is done very well. Nice fit and finish, super nice. It's all lined up really nice, but now you can feel it when you need to. So like in your palm, when you're deploying it, it grips your palm just right. When your skin gets in there, you see it's a little more toothier right there. It grips your hand really nice, but yet you don't feel it if you don't want to. I mean, that's just the way it is. But yeah, this knife is definitely, it blew me away when I got it, and I really started paying attention to it. The tip is really thin. You can break it. It's definitely, just like I said, this knife isn't for prying. This knife's for cutting. So as long as you're doing cutting with this knife, you'll be just fine, and even better than fine. It'll shine. Now let's bring in a couple other TwoSuns really quick to compare to. This is the TS16. This is one of their older models, obviously, because I said TS16. This is the 162, so you can tell. This is the TS169. This is one of their newer models. And this thing's milled out everywhere in the inside. I mean, even the lock bar is milled out. And then look at all the milling on the outside. And this thing's done really well too. I do like this one better though. Here's another one of their older models. This one has bone in the handle. And you see all the milling all the way around. And this knife is done incredibly too. I mean, like I said, even their older models, look at this thing. I mean, you can get this one probably for the same price as this one, and you do have to bid on these. Like they do, White Mountain Knives is starting to sell some of their older models. But if you want some of the newer models, you do have to bid on them. You can find them on Amazon, I think, a little bit in some places, like AliExpress or something like that. But where you want to get them is on eBay, because on eBay you can bid for them and you can get the best prices on them. Now, you're going to have to bid on them where, you like, say when you find them and you see the highest bid, you bid on it. Beat the highest bidder. And then after you beat the highest bidder, throw up your highest bid. So if somebody beats what is the highest bid, they still have to beat your highest bid. Meaning, like, if it's already $60 and you outbid it with $61, put up there what you're willing to spend your highest bid. So say if it's $75, then if somebody beats the $61, they have to keep bidding until they get up to your highest bid. Now, if they don't get up to your highest bid, that doesn't mean you pay that. That means you're going to pay whatever was the last person's highest bid. You're going to beat that by $1. So don't worry about putting that highest bid up there. That doesn't mean that's what you're paying for it. That just means that that's what you're willing to pay for it. This thing is beautiful. I actually compare this thing a lot to another high-end knife, which is the Tuya Kingsman, which is a beautiful knife. This thing's amazing. But this thing reminds me a lot of it. Look at this. Like exotic materials, all the milling and the titanium. I mean, they resemble each other a lot. Anyways, you see where I'm going with this. I do have to do a videos on these two knives, and so that's a different video. Also on this one, I'm gonna be doing all kinds of stuff to this thing. Yes, this thing is getting a lot of videos. For my buddy Mark, we're going to etch the blade. We're gonna anodize the titanium handles. We are going to put it through its paces. We might do a regrind. Not positive on that. We're gonna do a bunch of things to this thing, and just do a bunch of mods basically, because he sent it, and you know, he wanted to see us do a lot of mods. I want to put some jimping right here on the flipper tab, even though it works great, but that'll be a nice video to show how to put jimping in. So, but one thing that's cool is that buying these knives, that you know, you can buy these all titanium knives, and it's the same titanium too as Reate or Sabenzas or anything. It's a different number, but it's just the Chinese version. It's been tested. It is the exact same. I'm telling you, it's been tested. So no more arguments about that. It's the same titanium. So you can get these things and you can anodize them and have fun. Like if you're trying to learn how to anodize and you don't want to do it on one of your high-end knives, or maybe you do and you want to practice, you can get some of these. And I mean, the prices are going up because people are finding out about these things. So the prices are going up. They do have, this one is a Wong design. They have all their own designs or designers. This one's a Wong design. This one is a Night Morning design. That's his logo right there. And they have a bunch of other designers. I'm telling you, a lot more people are going to start going to these guys to have their knives made, because they're just knocking it out of the park. Knocking it out of the park. So many people go to to get their knives made, or Reate, because they know they do knives well. They know that. They know when they go and get a knife made by them, it's going to be well done. They know that. So everything is going to be phenomenal. That's the way TwoSun, mark my words, TwoSun's going to start getting that a lot more from a lot more designers. Designers are going to start acknowledging these guys a lot more, and they should, because they're moving up quick. All right, guys, I wanted to keep this at 20 minutes. We're over 20 minutes, so bang.